Okay, so I want to revisit the line you said, drawing a picture with just your words.
Yeah.
So radio is all about just using one sense to make people laugh, tell stories. When I was young, I used to religiously listen to City 1016. And RJ Tia used to be this fun elder sister, fun auntie. I don't know if she liked that term actually.
Don't call
Yeah,
her
no,
aunt.
sister, elder sister. That's what I said. We'll cut that part.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this is long. This is 2005, 6 when we first moved here, and you've also got a background in psychology, so maybe you can put that mask on as well for this question because I
Okay.
need some advice. So you've got 3 masks on now. So I feel there's something about the human brain that when you hear a certain voice, it cannot exist in your mind without a face to it. So you always create some face. And back then, social media didn't exist and we were kids as well. You didn't really go and seek out what people look like. The radio presenter's voice is always just the voice that comes on the radio, and you have an image of them. I think I remember it was probably 11th or 12th, the Facebook aa gaya tha, and at certain point, I went out to discover what all my favorite artists look like. And while they're all extremely beautiful people, way more beautiful than the image I have in mind, it's still very different from the image that I've created, of course. You can never, it'll be psychotic if I could have actually imagined what they exactly
Yeah,
look
that would
like.
be a bit like
That
weird.
would be a bit weird, right? But I remember the day I actually saw who they are, that day it stopped being this like a personal connection, personal bond that I had with this fun sister and the image that I had in mind. And then, of course, I'm not saying they shouldn't, but they obviously post pictures of hosting other events, or hanging out with their family. Then it just feels like a human being who's doing another profession. Of course, it's a very selfish relationship in the first sense. But I remember the day I actually saw a picture and then I went back to radio to listen to them. It was that new face that was talking. And immediately there was a disconnect between this is not my Tia, this is someone else. Do you think this is okay? Let me frame 2 questions from this. The first is, in our current age now with the influx of social media, everyone's got a very strong digital presence now, and it's unavoidable, and everyone should, right? So you have the Instagram, you're posting pictures, stories every day. Everyone's very connected. Mostly people know what you all look like now. Even radio itself is now promoting it. So do you think that kills the aura, the mystery behind a radio presenter that might have existed in the past, in the 70s and 80s, when people used to listen to radio and they had these personalities that used to come on, never knew what they looked like? Do you think it's taking that part away, or I'm just hyping it too much, and in fact this digital presence is how it enhances what you do on radio?
So I think taking the aura part of it, I think what's happened with the aura of radio is that it's evolved. So I think the aura of radio has changed. That time where you didn't know what a radio presenter looked like is long gone. But now I feel, and contradictory to what you've said, if you are listening to somebody on the radio, you really want to know what they look like, because then my connection to you increases, because you're not just this floating voice in my car or at home or on my laptop. Now you're a full-fledged human being with feelings and emotions and hair and eyes, and that makes you a lot more accessible. So you're a lot more relatable and not aspirational. And when you're relatable, you're more of a friend and my equal than somebody that I revere and look up to. And I'd rather be your friend than somebody that you look up to, because I'm a flawed human being and you're a flawed human being. And I'd rather we connect on that level. So I feel like when you can see somebody, that it puts that into perspective, that kind of equality. When you see my life on Instagram, you're like, oh my God, she has bad days as well. Oh, okay. So it's okay to feel bad. Like it's okay to talk about anxiety and it's okay to talk about depression because she is talking about depression and anxiety. Okay. So I think this relationship of equals sets in when you can see somebody, and in the digital era, as much as the trolling and the cyberbullying and all of that is part of it, you learn how to navigate through it. But I think majority of it is, if I can see you, I can be a better friend. I think that's how it's evolved. That's how radio has evolved.
It is a very interesting evolution, not just in radio, even in acting. You see
Yeah.
this happen all the time. In the past, actors had this mystery behind them because they hardly gave interviews, or you hardly saw them in the
Exactly,
public.
right?
You only saw them on the screen, and then you thought the person they play on the screen is the person they are. And even now, let's say Ranbir Kapoor's a famous example, but he still says he wants to maintain that superstar aura that the actors in the past had, where he doesn't give many interviews, doesn't have social media as well. So I'm clearly for some reason, maybe it was the reading aspect of it as well, that creating this visual that I have in mind makes it a lot more personal for me.
Oh, okay.
When, let's say, when you read a book and you have an image of it, that's suddenly it's the way I viewed Harry Potter. But the way, and when I watched the movie, I was like, these guys are not, they don't know what it is.
No, I get what you're saying. There's always an element of being disappointed with what you've envisioned to what you see. I had the same problem with Harry Potter, and I keep saying, if you're a fan of the books, then you're a fan. If you're a fan of the movies, then no, you have no idea what you're talking about. But I think that's just, it's a dance that as a radio personality, you've just got to learn how to deal with it. People might be disappointed when they see you and go, oh.
Doesn't even have anything to do with how you look.
No.
It's just that the image that they have is so different.
Exactly.
This is the story actually I was telling you before, is that when I used to listen to radio religiously in 2005, City 1016 mein there used to be the show AJ the RJ.
Right.
And he used to talk like this. This is not my way of speaking. And it was this very impressionable way of speaking. And he also used to crack a lot of lame jokes. And that was his thing. Yeah, ha, ha, ha. He had this laughter behind it.
Right.
And the rumors, the wives' tale was that AJ the RJ wasn't a real person. It was one of the existing RJs who was putting on a persona for a different show. And me and my brother used to always have this, "Kaun hai AJ the RJ? Who is this?" And he used to always come on at the same time. And even now, like me and my brother, it's become a lame joke voice. So we still go back to it. And whenever we remember it, there's a part of me that's dying to know who AJ the RJ was.
I don't know who AJ the RJ is.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to reveal the secret also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then there's a part of me that never wants to know who AJ the RJ was, because in that way, it remains a special visual I've created in my head, and also this secret kind of visual that me and my brother share, or even some few other people who have actually heard the show, when we can be like, "Oh, yeah, the Dubai mein AJ the RJ," and then suddenly high fives are going around. You don't want to break that. You don't want to break that fourth wall at all, right? You always want to maintain that mystery. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's very fair. Like I said, there's always an element of disappointment. And like you said, it's got nothing to do with the way a person looks. It's just that your imagination was just so much better than the reality. And somewhere you just want to preserve the imagination because it's a lot more innocent, it's a lot more childlike. And I will not be disappointed if I hold on to my imagination. So yeah, I get it. I hear you.